Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 156, and today we're going to be playing Scouts. And so, Scouts, yeah, this is nothing new in terms of the history of Runeterra, and also nothing new in the history of our channel, but I feel like it's most certainly something worth investigating with the release of the Darkened Saga. The Darkened Saga did bring us the Piltover Castaway that's going to be kind of the cornerstone of the build we're using today, and then it's a deck that's always just really good, that nobody gives any respect. I can't really decide why. People don't give Scouts the respect it deserves. If we look at the meta stats up here on this little bar, it says that it's currently only 0.5% of the meta, and that's not very big. And so it's a deck that I think people are just kind of tired of it. You know, it's been around in some way, shape, or form since the Rising Tides, but it's still a big contender in the meta. And so what brings me over to this version are a couple of ideals that we picked up in the last season, right? The big addition that was learned in the last season was using Zap Spray Fin along with the Inspired Light. And so you get this big board, you draw the Inspired Light with your Zap, and then since your board is completely full, the Inspired Light gives you an additional way to get stats, even though you can't add units to the board. And so that's been a nice little combo. People were adding Shell Shockers to make it function a little bit easier. All well and good. Not a terrible strategy. The other thing that we were kind of seeing towards the end of the season, up towards seasonals, was the addition of things like Riptide Sermon. Playing the Naga Kaboros Draw 2 along with Riptide Sermon was a pretty reasonable angle for Scouts to take. Riptide Sermon is still incredibly powerful, a card I expect to be nerfed sooner rather than later, and it's a card that works quite nicely here. That combo package also does the same thing that the Inspired Light does, is to where you don't have any space on your board, but you're still spending mana. Spending mana on building up tentacles lets you grow your stats on board without adding units to the board. But the big addition that we're going to see now is the addition of the Piltover Castaway. It ties a lot of these concepts together. Right, it has a tune, so it gets to come down sort of on the cheap. We get to bank up that spell mana, potentially use the spell mana to then cast Inspired Lights or to cast Riptide Sermons. It comes out, generates these equipment. The equipment work fantastically with all of the challengers. They work fantastically with all the scouts. We touched on that kind of idea with our Jax Demacia deck, trying to load up scouts and rallies with the equipment and getting multiple attacks in the same turn and extra usage out of all of those equipment. Those concepts all come in and apply here as well. And so I feel like we've kind of gone, not full circle, half circle, quarter circle. We've kind of cycled around a little bit to include these extra attunes into our deck. That's letting us be a little bit more greedy with our spells and come out and play this full Inspired Light plus Riptide Sermon package. The thing that's a little different from what we're kind of used to with Scouts these days is we're not playing the 4-cost Scout unit that generates a play. You have to make your cut somewhere. But with it removed, I do still want access to a Scout unit, and so we are playing the full 3 copies of Genvivi. That was a old recommendation anyways, but this is a high-powered Scout play that we can use. But we're also adding in the Blinding Assault. This is a way to give us a scout early, so if we need to start double attacking on turn 3 with Misfortune, we can still do it. It gives us a way to draw a unit off of Zap. While not the most high-powered thing, it is relevant and strong, and then it gives us a early cheap scout that we can use in conjunction with our improvised weapons. And so, with that out of the way, I'm good to go with this. I hope you're ready too. Let's go ahead and jump on into battle. But you all know what we do before the battles get here. We have to pay the pay-to-win price. And usually with Scouts, it's completely paid. But the Piltover Castaway has not gotten the premium treatment just yet. The deck is fully premiumed now. I do need to check our skins, though. I think this is a problem with Riot, right? They aren't giving me a Misfortune skin that I want to use. And so I can't do anything about that. But it's always Riot's fault. Never mind. Let's jump on into battle. And so, yeah, I think Scouts, it's in a pretty decent spot right now. It does struggle against the Timelines decks, right? The thing that has historically given Scouts trouble are decks that just put a bunch of stats on the board. And that is basically what the Timelines deck does. And so we're out here playing Durandi Sculptors in these cheaper plays, trying to get some incremental advantages, doing some challenges onto our opponent's smaller plays without our units dying. You know, that's the kind of big Scouts game plan. But the Timelines decks are just like, LOL, my units are all bigger than yours. So that sort of angle is a little bit weaker, but as we come up and play things like Ezreal Cannons, or if we play against the likes of the kind of control decks that are running around now, the decks that don't want you to be very interactive, we have a nice bonus there. And then as we also look to play against something like Pirates, our interactive package works pretty decently there as well. And so here with this game, I'm not entirely excited about how this is panning out with all the Durandi Sculptors. There is a pretty serious argument that on the first turn, we don't want to drop the Fleet Feather Tracker. We would prefer to wait until turn 3 and try to give it some additional stats. But the opposing deck here typically plays some quality units in the early game that we're okay with attempting to take down. All right, not super high-powered right here. Yeah, our board is just getting shut down. Not a lot we can do about that. We're gonna have to stop the attacks for a moment, and we're gonna struggle on this incoming attack. Our one healthers do not play well here. we can drop a sharp sight into Elise now if that's the way this is gonna pan out, but. Looks like it should pan out. If he's going to Blade's Edge our Warden, we get to Sharp Sight and block. It's not super awesome, right? I would prefer to just not be losing. Oh, he's going to give us the opportunity to come in. Maybe he's more interested in killing a Durandi Sculptor here. Maybe that's the way we go about this, right? If we just boost our Sculptor, come in, put the block on Elise. Now he can't kill the Sculptor. It looks like he'll probably try to protect his Legion Rearguard through the Mirai Warden, which I'm fine with. We just need to be getting some stats on board here. Okay. Still definitely behind. That was Vile Feasts are always challenging to deal with. It's one of the low-key just best cards in the game, but we'll see if we can't recover here. Need like a zap. He would turn things around pretty quick. Quinn, you can do some work. The thing I'm looking to do is I want to save this Riptide Sermon for the turn he plays Katarina. He's probably not playing Katarina this turn. And so if we can play just literal anything this turn and then look to take Katarina down next turn, I'll feel pretty decent about what's happening. Okay. Nice Star Guardian Scout attack. Just get this board cleared up a little bit. I'm going to have the hate spikes too. Aggressive. Vile Feast. Okay. It's more manageable. Get in there, Quinn. Alright. So that looks decent. We're ready to deal with this Katarina now. We can Riptide Sermon down Gwen. Whatever his angle is here, we should be able to shut it down fairly easy with the Riptide Sermon. You have to play something better than that. Okay. Our Quinn should be fairly safe at this point, right? If he has Ravenous Flux, he would be able to kill her anyways. But if he's going to come out and drop, I guess like Blade's Edge is kind of scary. This is fine though. Right, his angle, if he had a Gwen, he would have just played it. His angle now is probably just to play Katarina. If we want to be protected from Katarina, we need to protect our Quinn here. So we'll see about playing the Sermon next turn. Not blocking Katarina. Like, opponents at the spot to where they have to hit Kind of like a have to hit a harrowing to really cause us problems. We're going to have some pretty big attacks coming at him. Quinn's going to flip on this next one. Start getting us those Quinn birds on every attack. All right, well, we got a lethal open. Nothing wrong with that. Look at them galaxy birds. What's this called? Galaxy Bird Quinn coming at you. I think that's the right name. Star Guardian. There we go. Star Guardian birds. Galaxy Bird, please. All right, not a bad start. On to the next one. Whew. Are you all getting excited? What day is today? Today's Tuesday. So close to football starting. I can't wait. Just the best time of the year. You get to wake up on Sunday mornings, play a bunch of Runeterra, and then the football games start. You get to start watching the Chiefs just dominate everybody. Whew. Can't wait. It's so exciting. I love the fantasy footballs. Everything about it. It's so much fun. Oh, if you're not a football fan, or if you're one of those European folks that thinks I'm talking about soccer, you're welcome to be Chiefs fans as well. Alrighty, up against Annie Jen. I'm reasonably happy to just stop as much of their aggression as we can, so we'll look to drop Brightsteel Protectors next turn, completely shut down all of their aggression. He probably won't be attacking here. That's completely fine. Then the thing that I'm kind of interested in with this is I really want to get back to playing Annie, but she tends to just be so bad in these formats now. It's like she's no good against pirates. If there's all the challengers running around, she really struggles. Her fall from grace has been fast. And so I'm curious if she'll be able to swing back into the swing of things. All right, this is a little unfortunate, though. I feel like we have to drop the Inspired Lights just to spend all of our mana. It's not terrible, right? We get a free takedown on the Crackshot Corsair, but we would ideally be getting a little bit more than 4 stats out of that. Just a little bit of an awkward draw. What do we got? Mirai Warden? Should be pretty decent here. I was initially just kind of like, well, we can't always just Golden Aegeus into this board, but there's a good chance he's going to be following this up with units, and we get absolutely domed if we play the Golden Aegeus and then he drops the stagehand, right? And so I think the Mirai Warden's just going to be the safer play here, even though it's not super mana efficient. Now I'm just going to put as much stats as we can in front of his Overwhelm units, and then we'll put the remaining unit as a block on the stagehand. Just got to prevent as much damage as we can. Annie Jen's never winning late game, so let's just prevent all the damages and then do our best from there. Awkward draw on the sharp sight, but I think our strategy's still good. Okay, opponent's down to 1 card. Didn't play it. Could be a likes of a scary Decimate or something, but probably opening on us. All right, now this is kind of an interesting spot. We're going to come in and just roll the dice on this one, right? I'm not super excited in playing Genevieve this turn. There is like some argument to doing it, so you can just be like, well, we're not going to like max out on our mana next turn, but I'm going to roll the dice on this one and see if we can't hit one of our 2 copies of Blinding Assault. That should be enough to close out the game. if we do manage to hit it. It's not the end of the world if we miss. We hit an Inspired Light, a little unfortunate, but I think if we hit that Blinding Assault, we just win the game, like literally every time. But I know it's not a super impressive Blinding Light that we just played, but we're never spending that mana on anything else. And so let's just go ahead and do our best to get that mana spent. All right, still in a decent spot. We can come around next turn and probably win with Golden Aegius. He needs a big turn to get past our defenses here.
For the Empire.
Take us to 6. Need to deploy a blocker. It's like I don't really want it to be Zap because we're just going to lose out on the mana, but we're at the point where efficiency shouldn't be mattering that much. Opponent's going to have Decimate plus Noxus Blast to win this one, or Decimate plus another Imperial Demolitionist. They're not going to get through our board this round. Incoming Stagehand. Interesting choice.
Our purpose calls to us. We cannot turn away.
Alright. So put the boost onto Genevieve. This is so that she can come in and block the Stagehand without dying. We just have to prevent as much damage as we can on this attack. If he has the Decimate, we're dead. But now we can block the Stagehand without losing any units. And then we can try and win with the Golden Aegius. Doesn't feel like he has the Decimate. This should be a fairly straightforward play and attack if he has it. He's been taking a lot of thinking time out of this one. Ooh. Ooh, fam. Okay. GG. Well, I guess it's not entirely over just yet. We needed 2 extra mana to do an Inspired Light plus Zap kill. So he'll get a draw. He can maybe Noxus Blast us out of the game.
These woods belong to us. Their pride will cost them.
Oh, fuck. Well, I guess we're still in the same spot. We needed to attack with the zaps there. I just had it completely in my head that we weren't getting the lethal, and I had to I had to swing with the units, but we at least still have 7 damage on board. Ooh, that was sloppy. Just you get a little bit on autopilot sometimes, right? You're just like, ooh, this game's done. I'm just doing shit with Genevieve and getting these attacks in. You just miss out on it every once in a while. It's okay. Gotta learn from those mistakes on occasion. Cool, some Lucian Quinn. Curious if they're going to be playing the sacrifice your own unit equipment. I've kind of come to the decision that the new equipment cards are just the best cards in the set. As we see, like in our previous video where we played the support one that flips into the 7/7 unit. There's just like every single one of these support cards has been, or every one of these new equipment. I feel like they're like Bard, as we saw with Bard in the previous set. He just like nobody saw like the real power, the real strength of Bard until like he was out for like a month, and I feel like the same thing is happening with the new equipment. I think the Shurima one is fantastic. I think the what's it called? The Targon one that we played in the previous video is fantastic. And then I feel like the Pirates deck should probably be playing. The Pirates deck should probably be playing the 1-cost one as well. Haven't quite fitted in there yet. But on this board, there's no reason to come out here and just let him start leveling up his Lucian. We're gonna get a little bit closer to taking him down than like from just letting him flip. And so let's let him just go ahead and get this combat in. I guess the question is going to be, are we okay with his Lucian actually flipping? Like, probably not in this combat, but it's okay if he flips after combat. So let's just not put anything forward. He's going to kill our 2 small plays. That's fine. Not going to... Oh, he goes after Misfortune. That means we can get an extra block. Right? No. Lucian's going to go up to 3. We fall to 5. Okay. So is she going to get Vile Feasted? That's kind of scary. See if we can draw a Sharp Sight. Can't. Okay. I assume this Lucian's going to flip, but we hopefully have the stats to come in and take him down. He's going to have to start worrying about our board fast. So let's see what comes in. Strike up the band is fine. Try and boost the squad real quick. Oh, we survived that. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Still heart, steady aim.
I like it when stuff's pretty cool. Oh man, are we gonna get the Lucian before he flips? That would be fantastic. I was gonna say he's probably gotta have something. But Glimpse from Beyond makes sense. So his future Lucians will be flipped, but this one has been dealt with, and then of course you still have to draw a future Lucian. His board is not well situated to deal with a Misfortune either. Future Lucians. Would that be a Pulsefire Lucian, right? Oh, he gets a thing? That's kind of lame. we gotta come in and block all this shit or we're gonna die. Sure. Took quite a bit of damage there in the early game, but I mean I think we're okay. The game should be over before like a harrowing matters. And then he really needs to be popping a Lucian down again to attack through. Our board should be stronger than theirs. The thing that's scary, interesting, is opponent's potential to say play a card like Strike Up the Band to where they just get a bunch of stats on board. And that's what I'm currently worried about. Let's come in and protect our Misfortune. We're going to have to like block a Hallowed unit this turn. And so he can even make a scary attack with this Prey, right? He can attack with the Prey over to the left. And so I'd like to get out in front of that if we can. Don't really want to be playing 1 health units. So let's add a Durandi Sculptor. And then we can follow up with a Blinding Assault or something. It's going to be the end of our mana. You got any more plays? Lucian would be scary. Anything other than Lucian for 2 mana, I don't think we're that worried about. Even if it's a Vile Feast to take down the Misfortune barrier, I don't think that's a big deal. Alright, here they come. We got to block something with Misfortune. We want to preserve our Quinns if we can. Blocks in on these dum-dums. Just don't take any damage. And our champion should be able to carry this. And like, Hate Spike would be unfortunate. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose either Quinn or Misfortune here. But we shouldn't be losing both. Okay. So now we have a new interesting question in what our play for the turn is going to be. Do we want to Blinding Assault Fleet Feather Tracker, or do we want to go for Genvivi? Now that we've picked up the Golden Aegis, I'm pretty confident we want to just go for Scout plays. Let's do... Okay. Opponent said, no, that's too much, bro. That's too much. All right. GG. We haven't even got to make our sweet improvised plays yet. Come on, dude. That attack gain a spell mana equipment has been incredibly fantastic. I'm a huge fan of it. All right, on to the Viego Evelyn. I saw Dr. LOR posting that this is the current high win rate deck of the format. It's pushed its way up to the top of the meta win rate standings. So, congratulations, Evelyn. You've gone from everyone complaining about how bad you were to the top of the format, and so it's not bad. It's not bad. That's a nice way to live life.
Every work demands a piece of ourselves.
I was right up in there in the same boat. The cards like Evelyn are interesting to me in that it's tough to continue to support her, right? Like, what is Riot going to print in the future in terms of husks? Like, how many more husk cards can Riot really make? And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of, design space left over for whatever Evelyn wants to be doing. And so the way I kind of look at it is, if Riot prints 500 cards a year, how many of those do they get to dedicate to husks? And it's like maybe one, maybe two. I mean, as these things kind of expand out, is Riot really going to, continue to print in terms of these things? Not entirely sure. But let's see how this goes. Decent chance our Misfortune gets popped by a Black Spear. So opponent just doesn't have one now. Good to know. Dang, little unfortunate with the domination. I was hoping to get to make it rain some of that stuff off the board, but we'll make do. It'll be okay. All right, we're going to have to try and pop off a big turn next turn. We're going to look to drop the Mirai Warden and the Inspired Light. Also, probably going to look to make it rain if they don't add any more units to the board here. Curious if he wants to drop like a Hate Spike onto our Durandi Sculptor or something. Seems like he's got some interest in spending that 4 mana, but I think we need to be spending all 6 on this upcoming turn. So do we want to like lead off with a Make It Rain? That seems like a little scary to me. Let's start with the Warden. This way, if he does something that involves killing our Misfortune, we can still just play our other Misfortune. That's what the Make It Rain physically is. So, feel a little safer that way. Nice pickup with the Quinn Bird, though. Definitely feels stronger than trying to make it rain play here. So we'll go Blinding Assault. Our question is going to be, do we need to take down Vigio? As it stands, the Blinding Assault, that should be safe, right? So we have the Make It Rain. We can just try and counterspell the Hate Spike. If we hit Diego for a point of damage, it's not gonna work out how we want. He's gonna grow. We're just gonna have to give up 2 units to take him down. Brutal. Okay. All right, units, I hope you've been inspired. Really sucks missing out on the scout attacks, though. Misfortune's pretty close to flipping. All the golden Aegiuses. I think it's okay, though. It's like he needs to be playing an Evelyn or he needs to be playing a Viego right now. And the golden Aegius kind of gets around all of that nonsense. Intriguing. See if he's got the Black Spear now. There it is. Alright, a little unfortunate. We'll have to protect our other misfortune for next turn. So we'll just take all this damage if he attacks and then hopefully pick up a scout or something next turn. Do we ever make this trade? I think it's okay. Like, this is gonna be a fairly challenging unit for us to take down. Something good. That's not quite the level of good we were looking for. Not quite it, Inspired Light. You're not nearly as good without a full board. Okay. Sure. GG.
Now we plan our revenge.
Had all the removals for us. That was a little interesting in the sequencing. I'm curious if they had the removals from the start and we're just holding on to them forever, or if they just kind of picked it up as it came along and had a fairly awkward start there in the early game that just converted into big removals when they needed them. But all right, back up against the old Lucian, bro. Hey, we finally picked up our attune unit. Let's let's hang on to it just to make sure that we still have it. Why not? We'll get rid of these Brightsteel Protectors, though. The way our curve is going to play out, we won't be able to use them in the early game, and we're probably going to need, ideally, things like Mirai Warden to shut down their plays. What up, Lucian? All right. A lot of power coming out of the Castaway now, though. He gets the attune to give us the mana we need to try and sharp sight down Lucian. You usually just want quick attack, right? Lets us move the weapon over to our challengers and get those quick attack challenges in. Works fantastically with the likes of the Blinding Assault. And so, happy enough to hang on to it. What a weird-ass hand with the triple Golden Aegius. We gotta try and protect this unit. We can't just make a trade with a triple Golden Aegius hand and then like expect anything positive to happen. So we'll just try and protect the Broadwing now, so we don't run into the spot where we say, "Cool, we have 3 mana banked up and 1 unit on the board. Now we have 8 mana in total and a bunch of Golden Aegiuses we can't do anything with." So glad to see. Glad to see we got to keep the Broadwing on board. Okay. Interesting. He takes down our Castaway, which is a much worse unit than the Sculptor. Lets us put the equipment back in our hand. There's a lot of times where you don't want to make this play, where we just drop the Valor into a spot where we're not going to open attack, but this gets us out of 2 cycles, right? If we waited to the next turn, kept that mana banked to just come out and see what we actually draw, we're going to have to play the bird, give opponent an opportunity, play the equipment, giving our opponent an opportunity, and then finally attack. Dropping it on our opponent's turn means they only get the one opportunity to play cards. Probably not attacking with the Castaway, but some of these would be useful. Alright, just a Pan of Pain. Keep it so we can block on the next turn. Alright, well, I guess it's time to start playing some barriers. I mean, what else are we doing on this board? Let's go about it this way. If he's going to play a removal spell, like we're saying, okay, you're not blocking with Gwen, right? Or you're not attacking with Gwen by playing the Castaway, or the barrier on the Castaway. Now, if he wants to play a Vile Feast onto our Castaway, it gives a little bit of more protection for our Valor. I don't want this to be one of these turns to where we Golden Aegis Valor and opponent goes LOL removal spell. And so now this should kind of pull their removal goods out of the way. Now, we do have to worry about a hate spike with that when he drops the unit down, but I think I like that Aegis target there at the end less. I think we probably should have targeted our Durandi Sculptor with the barrier, because we were just going to lose out on the barrier if he has a removal. I'm usually fairly bad about that. I don't know. I think I make a lot of high risk, high reward plays in terms of my Golden Aegis target, and I might just be like thinking of the times when things go wrong that kind of stick out a little bit more than when they go right. But all right, on to the Pirates matchup. We have sacrificed a bit of our Pirates power with this build, right? You typically, in a Pirates heavy meta, want 3 copies of Mirai Warden, and then you want 3 copies of Island Navigator, so you can match their width. We're not playing any Navigators and only 2 Mirai Wardens. We did luckily pick up a Mirai Warden, but we're definitely not running at maximum strength against Pirates today. All right, Castaway, what do you want? The old Pan of Pain? And are we really going to be blocking a lot of 1 health units? I look at something like Sandstorm Amulet, and it's like, I could potentially see attaching this to Misfortune and letting her attack safely. There's probably not a lot of opportunities for that Misfortune hit, though. Kind of like it with the idea of our Formidables as well, though. Interesting. He's looking to just bring it in right now. No additional units. There you go. I wonder if he has a Make It Rain that he was looking to make it a little bit more painful for our Petricite Hound. All right, well. This is how we take the least damage. I mean, the least damage probably involves not blocking his Overwhelm unit, but that would leave 2 units on the board at the end of the day. I'm pretty happy for him to just have a Precious Pet as his last remaining unit. The downside to all of this is we can't play 2 units next turn. We need to pick up a 2-drop or pick up a Quinn Bird. Perfect. Now, do we even care about the Challenger on this thing? I'm not super interested in the Challenger, but we probably have to. If we go Durandi Sculptor into Broadwing and opponent plays Misfortune, that's going to be a pretty scary round for us to deal with. And then I'm okay to just pass here. If he's going to hold back on his equipment before moving on to the next turn, then I feel okay letting that just go. We have to take the stats down now, though. I was wanting to save that mana for our Riptide Sermon, but not quite able to do it. All right, block. Quinn says I'm ready to block. I'll fight through a make it rain and everything. It's tough. We got the Overwhelming over to the left. We could probably give up on the Durandi Sculptor at this point. I want to put the most damage or the most health in front of this unit as we can. All right. See how the draw looks. Good opportunity to get a Misfortune down. Perfect, perfect. Not as awesome, but we'll have more units on board than opponent will at the end of the turn. That's a pretty good place to be in against pirates. Now don't fuck this up and hook his 3/3 with your with your formidable Broadwing. You're not gonna win that combat, and you are not gonna be happy with the outcome. So we'll hook the Jagged Butcher with the bird and then punch in with the other units. The Kaisa players know what I'm talking about. You've gotten in a block with your Kaisa or with your Void Abomination, whatever the giant thing is called, and then you say, "Fuck! Why did my 6/1 only deal 1 damage?" That surprise formidable will get you on occasion. So let's see. We can add in Zap, and then we can Riptide Sermon. I just want to be able to get a unit plus Riptide Sermon down this turn. We could add the Broadwing plus the Sermon as well. Just a little more value that way with the Zap. But the Zap has trouble blocking. Let's go Broadwing. At the end of the day, if he spends a bunch of mana and we don't have to Riptide Sermon, we could play Zap, but highly, highly, highly suspect we're going to Riptide Sermon this turn. I mean, do we? We can play Zap and then just drop a Golden Aegis. Maybe that's the way to go about it. And then if he gets, like, if he just attacks right now, and we get to, like, drop a Golden Aegis, man, this just feels so good. Okay. I think we want the bonus on a Challenger. It still feels like he might have a Make It Rain in his hand, and so I didn't want to target the small Broadwing and have it go wrong. But the thing the Aegis does now is he must attack at this point, right? He can't play a Pot of Pain and then just have us murder his whole board. So, not the worst spot to be in. There's the Make It Rain. So we preserved our Misfortune. It's down to 1 unit. Well, we've got the advantage at least on the board. This is always a scary place to be in terms of health, though. Play something expensive and irrelevant, right? Expensive and irrelevant, please.
Well, that's one fantasy come true.
All right. Well, he doesn't have the mana for a Riptide Sermon. That's pretty big for us. decimates us to 2. Alright, we win. Right, the misfortune flips here. Come in for 10. Woof!
No regrets?
GG. Market a W for misfortune. Team Scout. Bringing the booms. We waiting? I'll emote it. Cupcake. Cupcake. Did we disconnect? Did we get a rage quit? Oh, man. I hope we got a rage quit. Feels good to get him on occasion. I've been playing more and more on mobile now. And I used to complain a little bit. You know, that's the standard Runeterra thing to do, is just complain about everything. About this bar up here at the top right. And how annoying it was. Now that I'm playing like on mobile, and I do it a lot at the gym where I'm sweaty, poking this middle button without hitting the friends button is fucking hard to do. I think I might have missed a game or two where I tried to concede and then just be done with my workout and let it stick up. But maybe that's what happened to opponent there. They're just sitting there trying to push the damn button. So I can't do it. Can't do it. All right, not a bad set of battles though. We've had a pretty good collection of games. Hit some of the highlights here. On to the timelines again. This is not a particularly good matchup. They have those. It's like if they have that early timelines, their units are just all bigger than ours, and so Scouts struggles with a deck, say like Elites, as to where you play a 3/3, a 4/4, a 5/5, and then a 6/6. We don't function well against that. We need to say play a Fleet Feather Tracker and trade with your 2-drop, and then play another Challenger on turn 3 or on turn 2, then play a Misfortune on turn 3. And then be able to attack our 2-cost unit up into your 4-cost unit and win, or attack our cheap unit into your 1-cost unit and don't take any damage. These are just like angles that don't quite work when your opponent just has a ton of stats to put on the board. Oh, no. Let's just give this up. We'll have the Misfortune for an upcoming turn. He just discarded an Aftershock. I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse. In terms of dropping Misfortune this turn. They typically just play like 2 Mystic Shots, 2 Aftershocks, 2 Thermogenic Beams. And so he has left himself with 3 mana here, the appropriate amount to just kill Misfortune. I'm kind of leaning towards just playing this slow, dropping the Durandi Sculptor here, and then dropping Misfortune next turn so that she'll have the 4 health. Won't play around the Thermogenic Beam, but it does play around the Aftershock and the combos of smaller removals.
Looking for trouble? It found you.
So if he has to beam, ideally, he just has to spend all 5 of his mana right now to kill Misfortune. But we really need for her to survive. The way that this game is broken down, if we go into turn 5 and just have 2 birds facing down 2 2/1s, an opponent gets to start dropping Trundle, that's problematic. That's a big issue for us. And so having Misfortune survive is big. Oh, he didn't even find a point of health for it. So this is exactly what I'm talking about against the Timelines deck, right? They missed. We're able to play our game, picking off their plays with ours where our units don't die. That lets us then in turn get to build up our board with Zaps and Genvivis and stuff. It's if they had the Timelines and their units were all bigger than ours, we would definitely be out here struggling. Bro's a little too big for a Riptide Sermon, but we're about to peel off a big Genevieve turn. Picked up a little protection with the Sharp Sight. We were looking for a thing to boost all of our units, but this should hopefully be enough to just end it. The sharp sight onto Genvivi to take down Combat Cook. All right. Let's wait. I thought we had the mana to play a sharp sight, but we don't. So let's take down Trundle. We can now target the Combat Cook with our next attack. Our next attack will also involve flipping Misfortune, and so might be able to just take down the Combat Cook with the Valor and punch in the Genvivi damage. He's only got 4 mana though. A lot of shit he's got to be stopping right now. So even if we only get to punch in for 12 this turn, we'll get to kill him with Riptide Sermon on the following round. But not bad. We've had some good success against some bad matchups today, so that always feels kind of nice. beat Pirates, beat the Timelines. We lost to the Evelyn deck, but Squadno deck has like 100% win rate, 90% win rate. Feels good though, man. Hope you all been enjoying it. I always enjoy playing Scouts. It's my Misfortune deck of choice, and we get to finish up with what should be a pretty decent matchup. These are the matchups you're looking to kind of pick on in terms of playing Scouts. You should have a pretty good matchup up against things like Nami, Twisted Fate. They don't have a way to really stop your width outside of Twisted Fate itself. You get to pick on a lot of their units without your units dying. Same thing kind of applies to Ezreal, Kennen, and like the Ahri decks and such. Have a really good game against those. We do have a fairly bad start, right? We want to be starting with our Challenger birds, our Quinn birds, our ways to come in and interact with their early plays. Found a tracker here, but not super excited to just drop it though. You needed to come down on turn 1, my friend. Alright, Sharpsight's not a bad draw though. Our concern next turn would be a Riptide Sermon into Misfortune, and so if we have the protection, I'll feel a little bit better. All of our units are now strong enough to battle Coral Creatures. If he plays a Double Trouble, our units should be strong enough there as well. Let's get him in. I say, I bring the attacks, bro. Interesting block. Your unit's just gonna die. I guess if he's gonna look to play a Twisted Fate next turn, then he would have the means to take down the Durandi Sculptor. But that feels like a recipe for falling really far behind. Rush? Where does Rush come from? Rush comes from Canada, right? The greatest thing to come from Canada. It's not maple syrup. It's not Ryan Reynolds. It's the band Rush. Start saying slap onto bass, man. Oh my gosh. All you youngsters wondering what this boomer's going on about. So many references all tied up into one. All right, there's the Twisted Fate. Not a problem. I'm looking to play the Bird and the Castaway. Where does that leave us next turn in terms of our mana, though? We have a Broadwing, but not a lot else to do. I think that's okay. I like the idea of taking down the Eye of the Dragon. Let's see if he flows this turn. Let's get the blockers off the board. Okay. Attack refill of spell mana is always good. It seems a little bit better than the Pot of Pain. We have a lot of places we like to come out and spend our mana. It's another great one to put on a scout unit as well. We don't have any scout units here other than Genvivi, but it would have been nice. All right, let's bring the pain now, though. Got the bird, we got the sharp sight. Digging it. A lot of times in this matchup, if you're able to do it, I like to keep Twisted Fate on the board. We do have to watch and make sure that Twisted Fate's not going to flip. That's something that it looks like opponent's not really pushing for, but could probably do it this game. But if you keep the Twisted Fate off the board, then they can't play anymore, and they're just stuck with the pick a card in hand. Alright, but I would call the Eye of the Dragon his highest valued unit at this point. Try and take it down first with the bird. I think we're looking pretty strong. This deck always just blows me up out of nowhere, though. Wouldn't be surprised to just be absolutely 100% incorrect about the state of the board for us right now. But we'll do our best to protect our units where we can. Get in for a nice chunk of damage. Our bird, our Valor will survive against the one-coster. The Broadwing going into Twisted Fate is fine. I don't think he'll be growing the Tentacle, but the Tentacle's the weakest one here. Ooh, he is looking pretty big on going for a Twisted Fate kill. Not so much a kill as much as a flip. It's a long way to go, though. He's got to do a lot of work with the 6 mana this turn.
I fight with my spirit, not my fists.
See, this is like one of these spots is like, should we really be putting the Golden Aegis onto the bird? If this goes, like if he has the removal spell to kill the bird, then we've just completely lost out on the barrier, but it's not like the game is lost at that point. It's just we're in like such a good spot if this works. But, I mean, the opponent right now, they either have to have a deny. Deny to stop Golden Aegis is exceptionally good. Otherwise, if their answer is like a removal spell or something, if they want to play Homecoming onto Valor, then we're just going to win. We're going to deal too much damage. Sure.
No prey, no pay.
Rip it. All right, so yeah, not a bad set of games. Nice 7 victories, 1 loss, 80-something% win rate, if you will. Slap it up there on the Twitter. High number of games, 8, 80-something% win rate. Tweet it out there. Let everyone know how special and spectacular you are. But nonetheless, there is a lot of give and take, a lot of different angles that you can take these builds with scouts, right? We mentioned playing against pirates that if you're looking to play in a pirates heavy meta, then you're going to be looking for both Mirai Warden along with the Island Navigator. Here, we're not entirely trying to do that. We're just kind of saying like, okay, the Pirates matchup isn't as perfect as we would like it to be, but we do get this nice mid-game package involving the Piltover Castaway using his Attune and then also using that equipment where we can. We didn't get to use too much of the equipment because we were ahead on board most of the time, but that's a good spot to be in. But whenever you do land into one of these more grindy matchups, if you're able to push that equipment around a little bit, that's just the last like little bit of value you need to really take it over the edge without having to include like card draw into your deck. And so I've been pretty happy with it. I would rather it be probably like the 2-cost unit instead of the 3-cost, but that's not the way the cards break down. and we're using the attune one here. And so it's good stuff. I'm pretty happy with how this played out. Hope you are happy with it as well. And that will do it for us today. And so hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope you became more attuned with your scouts. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.